They say that hope is the last thing to die. And for the millions of people watching the situation in the southeast, hope has a new date, January 27, 2026. You saw the headline, and I know your heart likely skipped a beat. Nnamdi Kanu to be released from Sokoto Prison? It sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Especially after the crushing blow of November 2025. But today, we need to separate the emotions from the facts. We need to look at what is actually scheduled to happen in the Federal High Court on January 27 and why the location, Sokoto, has become the center of this entire legal storm. We are going to take you inside the walls of the Sokoto Correctional Center, where the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has been held since his conviction late last year. We will break down exactly why he was moved over 700 kilometers away from his lawyers in Abuja, what his legal team is fighting for on this upcoming date, and whether release is truly on the table or if this is another chapter in the long walk to freedom. If you want to know the truth about the Sokoto strategy and what to expect in just a few weeks, please do me a massive favor and smash that like button right now. It helps us cut through the noise and bring you verified news. And if you are not yet a subscriber, click that button and turn on the notification bell. You need to be here as we count down to January 27. Let's rewind a bit to understand how we got here. Late in 2025, specifically November 20th, the Federal High Court in Abuja, led by Justice James Omotosho, delivered a judgment that shook the nation. Nnamdi Kanu was found guilty on terrorism charges and sentenced to life imprisonment. It was a dark day for his supporters, but the shock didn't end there. Almost immediately, he was moved from the DSS headquarters in Abuja, where he had been for years, to the Sokoto Correctional Center. This move to Sokoto is what has triggered the current battle. His lead counsel, Aloy Ejimakor, has called it insensitive and a calculated attempt to frustrate his appeal. Think about it. Sokoto is far from Abuja. It is far from his family. It is far from his legal team. How do you prepare a Supreme Court appeal when your lawyer has to fly across the country just to see you for 30 minutes? This is the core of the issue that will be addressed on January 27. So, is he being released on January 27? Here's the situation. The court has fixed this date to hear a critical motion filed by Kanu's team. They are asking for one of two things: either transfer him back to a facility closer to Abuja, like Kuje or Kefi, or, and this is where the release talk comes from, grant him a reprieve or bail pending the appeal due to the impossibility of accessing his lawyers in Sokoto. The rumors of a total release are fueling hope across the internet, but legal experts are warning us to be cautious. The hearing on January 27th is technically about his custody conditions. However, we have seen miracles in Nigerian courts before. If the judge agrees that keeping him in Sokoto violates his fair hearing rights for the appeal, we could see a major order given. But a full release from a life sentence would typically require the Court of Appeal or a presidential pardon, not just a motion transfer hearing. But there's a bigger picture here. The move to Sokoto has been compared by his lawyers to the imprisonment of Obafemi Awolowo in the 1960s, sending a leader far away from his base to break his influence. By keeping Kanu in the northwest, the authorities might feel they are securing the peace. But his team argues it's a violation of his human rights. They claim he cannot sign documents, review transcripts, or strategize for the appeal that could overturn his life sentence. On January 27th, the federal government and the Nigerian Correctional Service will have to explain to Justice Omotosho why they cannot move him back to Abuja. The judge previously ruled that the government must be put on notice before he makes a decision. That notice period expires on the 27th. So this date is a showdown. It's the day the court decides if Nnamdi Kanu remains isolated in Sokoto or if he comes back to the center of the legal battle in Abuja. I want to ask you, the viewer, do you think moving Nnamdi Kanu to Sokoto was a security necessity or a political tactic to frustrate his legal team? And what do you think will happen on January 27th? Will the judge reverse the transfer? Will he acknowledge that justice cannot be served if a man cannot see his lawyer? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear your perspective on this Sokoto exile. We also have to talk about the political angle. Throughout 2025, we saw traditional rulers and Southeast governors like Alex Otti of Abia State meeting with President Tinubu to seek a political solution. With the life sentence now in place, those political doors seem to be closing. But in politics, 24 hours is a long time. The pressure on the government is mounting. The peace in the Southeast is fragile. Many believe that keeping Kanu in Sokoto only fuels the agitation. As we approach this date, the eyes of the world, and especially the eyes of Ndigbo, are fixed on that courtroom. Will Justice Omotosho reverse the transfer? Will he acknowledge that justice cannot be served if a man cannot see his lawyer? If you found this update crucial for understanding the next phase of this saga, please smash that like button. Let's get this video to 10,000 likes to show that we are watching. And if you haven't subscribed, do it now. We will be tracking the court proceedings live on January 27th to bring you the outcome instantly. Stay safe, stay law-abiding, and keep hope alive.